You are listening to the Malliard Report, a live radio show that ventures into the mysteries of life, as well as the hot topics of the day, either political or business. Tonight is one of those programs that I bring you once a month where we do live calls and take your input. It's a great time to be part of this community. So, I have a call that is supposedly scheduled for right now. He has not called in yet. I have not heard from him. He's live from DC, I believe. So, as you can imagine, he may not have his communication going at this moment. And this, service might be spotty. So, I'm not going to blame him one bit for not being right on top of the time. So if he calls in, obviously I will take his call because it's coming from a number that I will know because I've given him the direct studio number. But the number that you can call me is 234-738-2552. And then about midway through the show, I've got another recorded call from this afternoon that I think you're all going to enjoy. It's the fan favorite around here, stops by to talk to us about his film festival once again. Daniel Abela stops by to talk about the film fest coming up this weekend. Sorry, I should know that. I just talked to him a little bit ago, but the dates and me do not get along too well. So we've got a brief moment here before we get to Daniel's call, and if you want to call in now tonight, I really was gonna do like a favorite movie because I had Daniel scheduled to talk a little bit, and then of course, I realized that the House and the Senate are meeting tomorrow to certify the election, so I've realized that maybe some of you want to talk about that. So we've got that coming. If my guest calls in, obviously we're going to get into that with him. That's why he is coming in a big way to talk about that. So there's a lot of things brewing right now, going on in the duck world world. So, yeah, a lot going on. A lot going on in the world right now, plus all the new strands of COVID, the Georgia runoff election, Pennsylvania's not seating one of their senators, which is just a nightmare and a legitimate concern for me, obviously, because there's great unrest about that. Just one, obviously just one, right? So that's an interesting issue. Trying to remove the lieutenant governor from his presidency of the Senate because he questioned why they weren't seating him. It just became a clown show in Harrisburg today. So there's all sorts of things going on around the world, around my world. So 234-738-2552. Feel free to call in and light it up. Still waiting for hopefully he does make it because I think you'll all enjoy hearing him again. And yeah, there's a reason I'm not saying his name, because if he doesn't show up, I don't want you to be disappointed, right? So, obviously we got that going for us. So, it's the first show of the new year, too. So, I know we do our normal predictions show there in November. If you have not heard that, there's a list of them going around from whenever they started till now. You can go catch all of those. Man, and if I'm so looking forward to 2021, it makes my head hurt. Let's see. So, hey, that means the Malliard Report is as close as it's ever. Well, it's going to be 10 years old this year. So when I see 21, I think 10 years, man, 10 years, right? So there's all that good stuff. 500's coming up. Oh, man. But that's always, there's so many things right now on my radar. Plus, right? Can't forget about the family and all the other things in the community and all the other things that go on in my life. I'm just glad to get the opportunity to come here and share an hour with you, my people from around the world. It just blows my mind that I get the opportunity to do that. So, I think I've got all the parameters laid out. So I don't know. What do you want to hear me ramble on about for a few minutes? Because like I said, there is so much going on. So many little details of life that just blow my mind right now. So, I'm checking my phone. So, if I stop talking for a second, that's what's going on, because I can do two things at once, but I'm just trying to make sure that I follow up with that as well. Okay, so nothing there yet, which is fine. Like I said, busy times in DC. So yeah, I don't even know where I want to go. Like I said, there's so much going on. There was the phone call to Georgia from Trump the other day. I know Captain Canada there in the chat room is watching the U.S. Juniors Championship. Go Team USA. Seems like they were down a little bit ago, though. So, of course, I have no literal clue at all about that. Just what he's been telling me, so he could totally be misleading me. In addition to asteroids, it's not... Oh! And yet... No, there's no way that's true. I almost went Ronbergian on that, and there's no way that's true. Germantown Runner. And I have no reason to doubt Germantown Runner. Don't think I'm... No, but that's not what I normally do around here. Right? I mean, I normally trust him, but it seems like he was trying to get me to go Ron Burgundy on that. There's no way. There is no way that's possible. If so, I need to find him. Immediately. Like tonight, and get him on the show. Other news, man. Ooh. Interesting. I just opened Twitter again to check the message, see if I got a message from our potential first caller, and that it is. Yes, it is. I just opened Twitter to see the trends, and Dr. Dre remains in intensive care after suffering a brain aneurysm. And that's scary, because I know of people that have died from them, right? Like, that's no joke. Other trends, because I just love reading trends, that Kanye West and Kim Kardashian's divorce is imminent, which Page 6 is reporting. I'm not reporting that by any stretch of the imagination, because I have no idea. The Heisman was rewarded tonight, which is... look up Heisman, and you'll know a little bit more about my area. John Heisman. Coached football here for a while. He's got a TMZ link there. Gonna answer this call. Welcome to the Malliard Report. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing don't know how, Jim. I had to call in because no one else was calling in. I'm going to call in. Dave is 100% correct. There was a Harvard professor that did say that we were visited by aliens. Oh, and he put it up.
Yeah, I was going to say that right now. Like I said, I have no reason to doubt Dave, but it just seems too wrong burgundy, right? Like,
well, after the Israeli guy came out saying that, we're talking about galactic federations and we're not part of it because we're babies or whatever, you knew somebody else was going to come out with something. Especially on the object that he's talking about, which was very peculiar, seemed to have a known trajectory and then changed trajectories. Definitely seemed to be intelligent in its origin, which is out of the solar system. But there's a lot of craziness. I was talking to Dave on this. We've been a lot of near Earth objects, and I think we're due very, very soon. I don't know if we're going to be, it's going to be our demise, but who knows?
Well, it could be, right? I mean, is this near Earth objects and this UFO stuff colliding, bad pun, at this particular moment? Because, because we got the Space Force, like, it just feels like, when you put the magnet down and all the stuff just sucks to it.
Yeah, there's a lot more to Space Force. The abilities of that and the reason why it's out. I mean, you'll be surprised at what they can do from space at this point, as far as rail weapons and some other technology they have up there. It's good to know because we definitely need, if we're getting through another field or an asteroid field or an object field. I mean, it could be the difference between life as we know it deteriorating and us still being here. Which is great with the Space Force.
So I've got to dive.
I don't know.
I've got to dive deeper in this because that's what I love to do. We're hearing all these things, right? And then we hear that the Free Guys have left the To the Stars Academy, right? And of course they've claimed they've never been a full blown UFO research division or however they word that. I'm not the guy that is the noted scholar in any of this UFO stuff, but obviously I pay attention to it. But again, I feel like I dropped my magnet, right? And they're leaving because they want to be more involved in the actual day-to-day nuts and bolts of that, right? And then you got this professor and this, like, it seems like, I hate to say it, I think German John Runner just said it in the chat room, so I'll quote him on this soft disclosure thing. I think,
Yep.
I mean, we had the Pope coming out a couple years ago saying he'd baptize aliens. So, I mean, like, I don't know if we're ever going to have that aha moment, right? Well, I know. That was fun, though.
Well,
I love quoting that.
If you're gonna bring up the Pope apparently is going to abdicate. So there's that Pope right there. As far as the To the Stars Academy, I didn't like it. I had a bad taste in my mouth from the beginning of it. I thought Tom DeLonge was the Lee Harvey Oswald of the UFO community, patsy-wise, and I have a problem with all these black hats talking about disclosure and whatever. They know a lot more than they're talking about, and I think there's a lot more to that is negative than positive. What they've been producing is, I'm sorry, but it's not impressive as far as my research is concerned. That's nothing. The fact that governments know about it, big deal. Let's move on to physical craft and let's see what we got going on that term of it. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now between, these elections, near Earth objects, potential Pope abdicating, this To the Stars Academy controversy, possible war in the Middle East, a major war in the Middle East right now between Iran and Israel. I mean, if you want to talk about a tinderbox, we entered it. Welcome to 2021.
Thank you for driving the point home where I decided to do actual wide open calls instead of doing favorite movie tonight.
There's too many favorite movies to get a favorite movie. So
okay, well, before I let you go, what is your favorite movie?
I have way too many of them. There's a ton of Mel Brooks movies. I like The Fifth Element. That's a classic in my book. There's some Galaxy Quest, Blazing Saddles. I mean, come on. There's too many of them. Most of the stuff today is crap anyhow. But I'll let you go to your call. Just wanted to call in and.
Well, it's not here yet, but I'm going to play the record. I'm going to play the recorded one now, and but I've got to blame Cat Ward for this because for some reason it started with her, where I started sending Bill Murray gifts to people because it's Tuesday, like Groundhog Day, and now you get them, and I send them to a bunch of people now. So that's kind of was the genesis of this favorite movie conversation because so many of my favorite movies are Bill Murray movies.
Yeah, I showed Stripes, or tried to my youngest. My wife got a little upset at the Jello wrestling scene, so I had to shut it down. But Bill Murray's great. He's fantastic, and I don't drive angry. So yes, Slapshot, Dave, one of my favorites.
Yes, sir. Okay, so I appreciate you, man.
I'm listening.
Yeah, have a good one.
No, I'm just going to let you go, so you can go get back to the show.
Yeah, well, this is the show, but I want to get some of this other stuff done, so I make sure I have time for other stuff. It's just 1 hour, man. This night right now is making me regret it. Have a good one. Okay, so I'm going to play Daniel Abelon now. There's probably 21 minutes with Daniel here. So we're going to do that because he talks about his film festival. We'll get into the whole realities of film festivals and COVID. And I want to make sure we get this in, too. I want to welcome back to the program, friend of the program, longtime friend of the program, Daniel Avila, what's the Psychedelic Film Festival? Sorry, I was so used to the other one.
Film.
I was so used to the other one, I almost have said that. How are you doing today?
Good. Just getting ready for next week's festival.
So, give the dates and the times and the places. So let's clean that up first before we get into too many of the other details.
So it's a 4-day program. It's live stream. Starts next Thursday, January 14th at 7 p.m. and it runs Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and ends on Sunday, January 17th, with the last showing at 6 p.m. The location to get tickets is www.psychedelicfilmandmusicfestival.com. And there you can get passes for the full weekend, for one-day passes, or individual screening passes.
Which is great for people that wouldn't traditionally be able to get to the event, but I'm sure this had to have been a, I'll just say it, hell of a year for you trying to figure all this out.
Well, we took it one day at a time. I mean, like I suppose, like everybody else is going. Originally, our festival was supposed to be in May of 2020, and then we figured, well, this pandemic will last a couple months, and we'll be ready to roll by October. And I think that came October, and it turned out that is not happening. So we waited a month or two, hoping that perhaps there would be an easy off on the restrictions, but I just went in the opposite direction. So right now we are not allowed to do any festivals anywhere in the city, in the state, as far as I know. So we decided to move ahead and do a live stream. But also, this may be the future. At least future festivals may incorporate live stream elements. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It is certainly a good way for people to stay home, safe, and be able to watch some films and really share in a community that's interested in breaking away from this non-stop 24/7 fear-mongering and negative news cycle, and really give some light at the end of the tunnel for everybody.
I mean, and you mentioned it because actually, also talking about the Electoral College vote tonight. So, man, this is the crux of position, right? Diving deep into that and diving deep into something else as people need. I mean, I think everybody's got their position in one, but I think we all need to make sure we're aware of the other and getting away from the other too at some point. So,
well, sure. If there's if there's any ever a time where we need a little break, is now. I mean, many have been exposed to lockdowns, and they also the ones who decide to turn on the TV are bombarded with mostly negative or at very least neutral stories about the world. So, this festival functions almost as a therapeutic. Body of films to really get people thinking in a more optimistic, more upbeat, more forward-looking capacity. You know what I mean? Look, it may take us 3 months, 6 months, but at the end of the day, the most important thing we need to watch out for is just for our own mental, of course, physical and mental health. Now, the physical health is being reinforced by constant news about washing our hands, keeping social distance, but I don't think there's enough mental health news. And I think there are a lot of people who are very unhappy. They're depressed or sad or feeling dejected and so on. So we are the purpose of this festival is also to really pump people with a little bit of optimism and some good news, even though it might not necessarily happen tomorrow or the day after. So I think, if anything, this is a good timing for the festival. We're in the middle of a second lockdown, at least in some parts of the country and the world. And this is a piece of relief, a kind of visual and auditory relief. One thing this festival is offering, we really are showing films and groups from all over the world. So it won't just be New York tri-state people who will be. And there'll be some Q&As with some filmmakers who ordinarily may not be able to attend because they're living, say, 5,000 miles away. So it's trying to look at the silver lining in this of this event and of what we're doing.
Yeah, I was going to say that kind of lets people from all around the world. You've got creators from all around the world now. Their people, so to speak, can support them without traveling thousands of miles. So this might be, like you said, I believe that live events, whenever they return, are still going to be very key to things, but I think adding the element of letting other people attend them that aren't just able to is going to be a great find for all of us, and especially you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I think there's another danger, another thing that I just want to be noticing is if people are not necessarily depressed or unhappy, there's a kind of apathy there's a kind of we'll just skip this year, skip next year, and that's generally not a wise thing to do. I think we really need to always live the moment in however shape or form is expressed to us. And that's one of the. So there are a couple of films in the festival that reflect that need to really, see the positive, even in something that is very negative or very, very, disruptive to our lifestyle. See that, spin the positive. I mean, certainly some people will credit the pandemic for bringing their families closer. That's one, positive. And I try to really focus on that, because at the end of the day, 6 months or a year will pass by, and then where are you going to be? Where's someone going to be? They're going to be in the same place they were in 2020, 2019, or will they have discovered or learned some new things and then now can start introducing the world? The world is going to change. The world is changing. So we won't be returning back to normal, the normal of 2019. And hopefully the world will be returning 2021, will be one that integrates virtual conferences, but also incorporate live. I don't think that's going away. I think people have a real hunger. I think there's almost a physical issue that's being obviously not addressed. So I think that hybrid festivals will become the norm. So we'll have, other festivals have said that that's going to be where they're heading. So there'll be their live screenings, but for those who are not near, who cannot attend the festival, there will be an opportunity to watch certain films. It all depends on the filmmaker, of course.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to say, as I sit here thinking, that becomes a problem the other direction, but always a problem somewhere. But we're not here to talk about problems. We're here to talk about great things. But we're a few minutes into this, and you slipped you slipped another word in on me, and we haven't even addressed it yet, and we've got to get to it before I let you go, and that's music.
Music, that's right. Yeah.
When did you add music, man?
Well, we've had music with this festival since the beginning. Remember, this is the third season of our festival. So year one, we had several live bands playing at our festival. In fact, we had the composer of some of the films of Alejandro Jodorowsky, well-known surrealist director. We had a few psychedelic bands from New York City playing. So it was really, it was exciting. I mean, it was both film and audio. Now, this year, of course, we can't have any live events. So instead, what we did is we're still going to be showing some of the videos of the bands that are participating, music videos. So music has been always an integral part of our event, our festival. Clearly, doing anything live in New York is a challenge, given the limited number of venues and all the expectations. But we've managed to pull it through. So hopefully we'll be able to continue some live events as well in 2021, 2022, whenever we do our next psychedelic festival. At least for this year, we'll have films. We also have music videos, all incorporated in the same program.
I often wonder if music videos are getting lost, but that's just me. Because we don't. Yeah, and we certainly don't have a whole section of music videos, because I think that, but we spice it up. So basically, we'll have, for instance, psychedelic horror or psychedelic sci-fi. So we'll have a few live action, we'll have some animation, and then somewhere in the middle at the end we'll have a music video, So it's not just a block devoted to music videos. It's just part of so instead these become part of the group. So we have 7 different categories of films or themes. And each category reflects a different taste. For instance, we have 3. One on it's called The People Who Suspend, dealing with people who are a community here in the U.S. that's actually bungee jumps, but they use their own skin
as to hold their bodies as they jump, bungee jump. So, and this is a practice supposedly going back thousands of years. Other cultures have done it. We have a documentary on dealing with veterans, and how they a selected group went on a vision quest to deal and wrestle with their own inner demons. This is directed by the producer of Hoop Dreams, the very famous, well-known documentary, Sundance winner, and back 20 years ago. So he's now focusing on veteran affairs. And then we have a feature called Magnetic Pathways, starring Dominique Pinon, known from Amélie and Delicatessen. And it deals with, has a kind of an Orwellian dystopian future. And very interesting. It's almost it's not so much sci-fi; it's more magical realism. And then the other 4 blocks are scattered depending on the theme. One block focuses on it's called Groovy Places, Groovy Times, the 60s and now. Another one is psychedelic horror. Another one is the surrealistic edge, focusing on surrealism and dreams. The other one is visionary landscapes, internal and external. So within that, we have different themes, so we attempt to cover every aspect of the psychedelic experience. To broaden the definition, it's not just about hallucinogenic drugs, but it's more about how the different practices. These could involve meditation, prayer, chanting, whatever, to basically reveal the mind to us and its possibilities. So that's another focus of our festival. And not just, there are plenty of stories about people who ingest DMT or cannabis or psilocybin or whatever. And that's not really the focus of the festival. Our focus is more on films that induce or mimic a psychedelic state, and which can be a very refreshing experience as long as it's only for a 2-hour or 30-minute ride. So that's really the focus of our event,
So I hate to ask you about what's coming next because it seems like everything's so up in the air. But when do you think you're going to open submissions again for whenever the next one may be?
Well, as soon as this is over, we'll open up submissions, and we probably will be doing one in the way it looks like it won't be too early next year, because we already, I doubt we'll do anything at the end of the year. We generally it's about a year. And what's coming next, though, is live, and this is live. Is the Philip K. Dick Film Festival, Sci-Fi, which we're scheduling for May. We're probably going to do it closer to July because we want to make sure this is a live event and make sure that we'll wait long enough, and hopefully by then there'll be enough vaccinations or enough herd immunity for some of these restrictions to be lifted and allow for some limited screenings. And so we'll have that combination of limited screenings and virtual screenings. That's definitely happening probably sometime in July, the way it's shaping up. So that's pretty much. And now we do our festival in the UK is being postponed again. We were supposed to do it in October. I think we may have had a conversation about this back then. So it was put off to December, and now because of the variant strains, now it's being put off till March or April. But I will definitely keep you posted on that. But the most important one is this one, the psychedelic one. I think this is a really nice, some amazing films, and it's more, they're very entertaining. It depends on what you're looking for, but we try to curate a nice spectrum of films, from live action, narrative, talkies, to just abstract visuals. So it depends on where your head is at that day, and so that we're trying to cover the full spectrum. But the key idea is to have people recharged by watching some of these films, and feeling that maybe sometime in the future normal will return, in some shape or form. So
Yeah, I just appreciate the variety of stuff that you bring to the table, like you just said, between the animation, the live action, the music, the documentary. Like you've got truly something for everybody. That's why I keep bringing you back, because I know if somebody looks, they'll see something that interests them.
Yeah. I mean, and that's it. I mean, we have different themes. So, for instance, we'll have one theme called the Mind Revolution, which is a screening of films dealing with mind, visual and audio visual practices. We have. So I think people will find, if they go to the festival, they go to the website, they'll find something that they want to check out. You know, everything from live action, experimental, abstract, surrealist, music videos, and they're from all over the world. And so, you know, we have films from literally from Kazakhstan to from Japan, China, South America, from everywhere. You know, it's a nice mixture. You know, of films. So
again, I don't know how you pull this all off and keep yourself sane, because every time I talk to you, you sound more calm and more relaxed than the last time I talked to you, even though you've got more on your plate, which just blows my mind.
Well, you know, I'm lucky enough to have several really good programmers do a lot of the heavy lifting for me. We receive hundreds. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how many submissions, but we receive a huge number. So we have some good programmers who really will watch every single film from beginning to end, and they'll give me their analysis. Then I watch and a few others. So it's something that's been coming. I mean, as I said, this festival was happening in May of last year, and then we had to put it off. So, and it gave us a little bit more time to watch all the films, to reevaluate and reach out to all the filmmakers. So the key thing is to really overcome the some of the issues that people are confronting today, with their fear, anxiety, indifference, and really paint a broader, bigger picture that is brighter and more hopeful, more optimistic, which is happening. I mean, it's slow. I mean, as I said, this is something, an opportunity to really take one day at a time and make adjustments. And I think that requires a certain flexibility of mind, but it's essential that we do it. And sometimes that flexibility of mind comes from watching films and that are outside the normal mainstream programming. You might get on Netflix or some other platform. And that's good. It's a way of really stretching ourselves, you know. And that's what I'm hoping we accomplish with this. It's just a small step towards something larger. At some point down the line, we'll definitely do a live version, and we may even take it into other cities, depending upon we have so many people who are interested in doing it in Europe. So, since by name we're not defined by city, but by name, the Psychedelic Film and Music Festival, we might take it other places. But, you know, that's in the future. For now, we're really looking to focus on now and really getting people to feel better about themselves. I mean, things are tough on everybody. And everybody is waging a private battle, but it's also a collective battle, So we both need to, I think there is a desire to really help and break through some of this impasse. And we will. You know, I mean, some people may just wait a year or two and then start from scratch. Others might say, hey, look, this is an opportunity to learn something new. Maybe read a book, or check this new movie, check the new festival, or learn a new technology, learn a new language, write that. And then, you know, they can look back and say, well, it wasn't a total waste of time. I did do A, B, C, D. And the key is to keep busy, you know, for us to stay busy and to be focused on something that's meaningful. So we don't say, oh, well, that was a total waste of time. But, you know, it meant something. So it's essential that we keep that in mind during this period and to really focus on that. I mean, it's why we need to remind ourselves that it's only, you know, in some time, maybe in a couple of months, 3, 4, 5 months, we'll be returning back to normal, or some semblance of normal, and life will go on. So that's my take, you know. And we all gone through these challenges, so we need just as a kind of a reminder. So I'm hoping that this festival is just another resource that people can access to, give themselves a little shot in the arm,
Well, Dan, hey, I appreciate the update and keep up the good work. And I also got to appreciate Jonathan at this point for pushing through and getting through to me and making sure we got this conversation to happen. So we got to give him a big shout out and some love for all this afternoon.
No, Jonathan is a trooper. He's great. I mean, I really consider him. I mean, we were all part of the same basic team that started together back in 2012, and he's really integral to this whole operation.
So I wish you the best with this and the best going forward, and we'll catch up soon, I'm sure, because it just seems.
Well, absolutely, Jim. Well, again, thanks for for sharing this with your listeners. This is again, we'll keep you, through me or Jonathan, we'll keep you posted on anything, new developments, any new things that might come along the way. But you got to keep the good battle going. That's all. That's my opinion. Good battle.
That's right. Have a good one, man.
You too, man. You have a good one, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
And there we go. There's Danny Abela. I wanted to get that in. He took the time to do that, so I wanted to make sure I got it on as part of this live call show. He called me again a little bit earlier this afternoon because of his schedule, and I appreciate that. The guest I were teasing before we played this, I actually got a communication from them that neither of them will be able to join me tonight, so we're not going to be going live to D.C. for some election coverage, as I'd hoped, or some Electoral College coverage, as I hoped. But that's okay, because I can promise you at some point we'll get these guys on and we will have a discussion that is going to be very interesting. So that opens it wide open again for your calls. 234-738-2552. We talked a little bit about UFO disclosure. We talked about your favorite films. We can obviously talk about the Electoral College and that process. There's a lot in the world going on, and man, I'm just looking forward to whoever brings it next, because I know we've got about 20 minutes left and there's a lot to get through and a lot going on. Also, while I was sitting here listening to that back, I also seen another trend on Twitter which has excited me to no end. Is it pop? Is it soda? Or is it Coke? Now, I will say this. I am from Western Pennsylvania and it is pop for me. Of course, it's also Pepsi products for me, because we've got a Pepsi bottler here in town. So as you can imagine, most of our places serve Pepsi products. Now, except for our national chain, of course, they serve Coke. But when you go somewhere local, 9 times out of 10, you'll get a Pepsi. So that's the fun fact about me. Now, of course, up the road in the town that I used to live in a couple of years ago, there used to be a Coke bottling plant there. So as you can imagine, Coke was first and foremost around there. But that's okay. I still found a way. And if you're watching the live video tonight, you've probably noticed some difference to that layout. Hopefully you enjoy that as well. A little bit cleaner, a little bit simpler, a little bit easier on the eyes. I cleaned that up quite a bit. And you'll also notice that I'm drinking generic Dr. Thunder Diet tonight. Instead of my traditional Gatorade or Kool-Aid, I'm trying something a little different, trying to try some things. So, Germantown Runner points out he's from the Midwest. It's also pop. And Pepsi ruled Chicago when he was growing up. Bet you Germantown Runner remembers when they tried to screw up Coca-Cola. I bet you he does. Let's answer that. Welcome to the Malliard Report. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing well, Jim. How are you doing?
I can't complain one bit. So, what is it, pop or soda for you?
Pop or soda? Well, originally for me, a Coke is all type of soda. But if I had to go between the two, it would be soda.
So it's Coke for you, though, actually, no matter what it is.
Yeah, right. Because I am originally from the South, so from there, usually a Coke meant, do you want a Dr. Pepper? Do you want a Coke? Do you want a Pepsi? That's what a Coke is for me.
And to clean it up, generic Dr. Thunder is Diet Dr. Pepper, but it's the off-brand. It's the Walmart brand, just for everybody out there who may be confused. And I find it to be the best diet thing that I found to drink. But that's a whole other conversation for another time. So how's life out there on the western coast?
Out on the western coast, it's definitely certainly interesting as always. We've got the clown world politics that we live in. The weather's fantastic. It depends on what you're looking for. An old show guest of yours seems to be making a lot of waves out here. I know he's probably made a few national studies, but out here he's creating quite a bit too, which has been awesome to see. So that's the overall census about here.
Yeah, it's funny because I messaged him before he kicked it off and said, hey, it's time for you to get back on the show. And the next thing I know, he's been on Fox News like 5 times, and everywhere I turn around, I see him. It's ridiculous.
Right. Well, that's what I was actually talking to all my family lives out in literally on the complete opposite end of the country, out in Florida. And I was talking to him. My dad was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that guy on Fox too." I was like, "Wow, way to go, man! It's so exciting to see what he's really doing."
Yeah, I guess we should mention we're talking about Chef Andrew Gold, and I'm looking forward to talking to him about a number of things. Like I was looking forward to getting back to the seafood conversation that we were having, and now it's just doubled down and all this other stuff that we need to get back to. So it's just one of these things that I just don't know if we're ever going to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I need to get back to this place too, because the last time I went there, it's been quite some time. I always end up going with his epic shrimp burrito, which is amazing. But he's been posting these pictures of these like lobster-filled cheeseburgers. So you're just like,
I know, right?
You can't.
Well, I think that you need to do that for a number of reasons, and report back.
I think because it used to be, where when I was still able to go to my office was like 2 blocks away from one of his restaurants. And, so, we'd go there. This is before I even knew who he was. And then now that of course there's this like quasi connection, if you will, I'm, nowhere near one of his restaurants.
Yeah, but it's kind of a fun fact though, right? Well,
it really is.
I was up late one night. This is always a good way to start a story, right? And I was on YouTube, and I seen Kevin Bacon talking about the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, right? And how he turned that into this great philanthropy, great thing that he's doing, right? But the original premise of it all about being within, any actor in history was within 6 degrees, had 6 or fewer connections to him. It's kind of cool when you start narrowing those things down, though.
Yeah, that's kind of the way it goes. I remember that from, this is sort of the same, but not at all. But like, I remember that in the music world, I was doing the music thing. It was like, you always knew somebody that knew somebody, and you're all connected in one form or fashion. It was kind of like a running joke with that.
Yeah, but Kevin Bacon, man, that's. I think Kevin Bacon deserves. Kevin Bacon deserves something just because everybody wanted to talk about bacon. I think was the underlying. Right?
I think you're probably right on that one, because it's just an excuse to talk bacon.
Yeah. So here's my question for you. What's going to happen in DC tomorrow? Are we going to see a big cluster, or are we going to see a little cluster, or are we just going to see the normal process play out?
There are so many cards on the table right now that, because me, I love my conspiracies, and I love digging through the conspiracy side of things. And you're seeing some weird oddities that are popping up already. Like, of course, there's everybody that's since descended upon DC in the last 24, 48 hours. And then there's the whole thing right now. A lot of people in the area aren't able to get, and if anybody, I know Germantown Runner's kind of in the area, if they're able to, sorry, I'm looking at the chat room right now, so I'm getting distracted. The French laundry governor be recalled. It has gained a lot of traction. We are near the count for signatures. I think they are at 1.25 million right now, or just under. So, and I think they need 1.5. And I think we're on our way for our French laundry. So, anyway,
so back to where you were going in DC.
So, question for Germantown Runner there. I've been seeing little blurbs of people that are in the area not able to get directions via Apple Maps, I think, and saying that they can't navigate to DC itself. Like, it's not giving them the opportunity or the ability to do so, which is kind of sketch in of itself. Then you're seeing pictures of mysterious, pallets with giant cinder blocks and bricks on street corners again, like we saw in, the previous goings on from a few months ago. And then, I don't know if anybody else I saw on the news that there's some sort of chatter about Iranian interference with an FAA code, saying that they were going to try to crash an airplane into DC or something like that. So who knows what's going on. If you really want to get my super, let's go Costco size tinfoil hat, there's going to be weird election results in Georgia, false flag event in DC. So everybody forgets the weird election results in Georgia. So that's my Costco size tinfoil hat for DC tomorrow.
I can't argue though. I definitely think there's some. I mean, it's bubbling too much, for sure, for everything just to go through the audit or whatever can be forced down through that mess.
It's a boiling pot and bracing for impact. Germantown, hoping for the best for out your way there. Because I feel like we're really on a tipping point. I hate to sound all Mr. Doom and Gloom with this, but I just feel like we're at a tinderbox, and the slightest little spark will just set a whirlwind in motion right now, and it's a little scary. We're on such a precipice of chaos, but it's just kind of the way it is right now. The National Guard has been activated in DC. Good grief.
Yeah, and I don't think that's what Brian Bowden meant to put in my mind, but I seen that Ivanka Trump tagged Meatloaf in the picture yesterday as her father was going to the rally. Did you see that picture? Did you hear about that?
I did not. I can't say that I did.
I guess they were on Air Force One, and she tagged him in a picture. I mean, she took a selfie of her and him, and on the way to Georgia, and she tagged the two candidates, him, I think his press secretary, and Meatloaf, the musical artist.
And Meatloaf,
totally right. Random right there.
That's an odd combination of individuals there for sure. Yeah, I didn't know Meatloaf was it one of those he was part of it, or one of those they drug his name into it against his will? Because I'm not really from.
I'm pretty sure he was not meant to be there. There's probably somebody else that was supposed to be there, but
Gotcha.
You never know, right?
So yeah, that's true. That's
true. Obviously,
I'm gonna flip.
I was gonna say, well, obviously, it worked though, because it created a buzz about that I probably wouldn't have seen that picture otherwise.
That's true. And I guess any press is still press.
Well, they say all news is good news. Well, some people say that.
Some people do. Mr. Loaf, that's funny. So I'm going to flip the script on you. Well, let's just change these gears, because that's what we do. That's how we roll on this thing. 500's coming.
Yeah.
The big one.
The big one.
What have you got? What have you got in store for us? This is monumentous, Jim.
Yeah, I hate these milestone numbers, right? Because after 100, it kind of feel like that was kind of the first. But I didn't even notice 100, right? Because I was so locked in and didn't pay any attention to it. So it kind of went by without noticing, which is probably a good thing, because I don't know, it just kind of feels like a weird thing to celebrate. And then 200 happened, and I remember registering that in 300, and then I think I skipped 400 because I just didn't feel like that was a number that was worth anything. And then now we're at 500. So I've kind of hinted to you who or what. I mean, well, I guess who, right? Or what kind of category I'm looking for. I think that'd be a cool category to pursue. I've started to pursue some of that. I haven't obviously locked down a name yet. But what do you think about I get? You know the category. I want to keep it kind of vague just in case I have to go somewhere totally different. But you're on board
absolutely.
With it.
And I think, and I'll do the best that I can to keep it as vague as possible. But you've got a connection with guests that you've had, so I don't see it completely out of the realm of possibilities. And I think it would be really awesome. It's really good. I think it'd be fun. It'd be a real change of pace from. I mean, not a real change of pace. We've had a guest in that field before.
Technically, it would be a change of pace, right? I mean, because of what they do.
Yeah. right.
Yeah.
But no, I think, like we kind of chatted with it the other day, and I thought that's it'd be a lot of fun. It certainly would be a lot of fun to have something of that and of that caliber on the show for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and the good news is, even a bad one, right? I mean, I don't want to say that, but there are levels in that group, right? There's the world class people, and then there's the championship level people, and then I don't want to say the fluke level people, but there are people that would fit in that category that have an amazing story too.
We'll say up and coming.
Yeah,
say up and coming.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of even the worst one, right, still has a great story because of how they got to that point. So
that's true. Yeah, because they were there. They made it to that point.
Yeah, I was gonna say I mean, there's no fluke about it. They've put in, as I've been telling people for years. Well, especially there's a couple people I think about 10 years to be an overnight success, and all these people that we're talking about have that backstory of 10 years to being that, at least for that one moment, being the greatest. Almost said it, in the world, and
it's that pink elephant thing that we were just talking about earlier today.
Man, it does get rough at times, and worse, this is my own self-imposed guidelines, right? So, no, but I mean, and then right around the corner of that is the 10-year mark. So I think we have to do something for that too. Now, here's my question for you, because you're kind of the one of the people I'd go to about this. Do I celebrate it the week before, which is like the 23rd, right? Or do I celebrate it the 1st of June because it's closer and actually the show, like the anniversary of will happen then?
That's a really good question, because I mean, if you're going, show-wise, I could see where you're coming from, but if
because I'm going for the date, right? Because the date's the 31st.
Yeah.
Because we just celebrated a show, a particular number, so I don't feel like I have to be in that alignment.
Because it's like the perfect lineup of 510 year. I mean.
Well, here's the fun part, right? If you do 10 years, you're supposed to do 520 shows, right? So,
right.
We're right on that pace. Well, there's been a few, but not that many. So, that's the great part of this.
Right,
for those people out there struggling to figure that one out. Oh, boy.
Now I'm thinking of that, was it Old El Paso Taco Shell commercial? Why not both? So,
well, I guess, and here's the compromise position, right? Because I've been doing these live calls the first Tuesday of the month. So if I do live calls that first Tuesday in June, that still fits the rotation. And if I go out and get a guest to honor the 10-year anniversary, I could do that the week before, and everybody's happy.
There you go. Problem solved.
Problem solved right here on the air because I talked through it. There you go. Great radio for everybody else, but...
All right. And on that note, hey, see, and that's just like your guest from last week. Devin said, you don't have to look at the giant thing of this is what I got to get done. You focus on the little victories throughout the day, and you feel accomplished. So
yeah, so we accomplished that. So that's great. That takes that to a whole different place, and it feels good. So.
All right. Well, I thought especially on that note, I'll end on a high note because we're
I was gonna say
now time.
Exit stage right while you can.
before I crash this thing into a hillside in a flaming glory.
Plus, we've only got a few minutes left, so you got to play it right. So.
Exactly. So I just wanted to call on to say, hello to everybody. Happy New Year. Wishing the warmest and happiest and safest New Year's to everybody. Germantown runner out there and everybody else on the East Coast. Stay safe right now because it is chaotic. And have you guys yourselves a great night.
You too, man. Stay safe, and I'm sure we'll be talking again soon. So.
Absolutely. Take care, Jim.
I mentioned in the duck pond, Chris needs a nickname. So for those of you who listen to the podcast and read his wonderful notes week after week, know that's him, and that's the voice that you see or the voice that you read. That's Chris there, and he takes great care of me in the program doing that. So I appreciate him immensely. But he does need a nickname, and we'll figure this out probably in the next couple days. I feel there's some blubbering out there. but I haven't figured it out yet. And we're rapidly running out of time here on the first program of 2021. Man, let me tell you. Talked about the different types of drinks. We've talked about favorite movies. We've talked about UFO disclosure. We've talked about the psychedelic movie festival and music festival. Man, I'm telling you, they're saying it can't be done. They're saying that you need more time. They're saying the show needs to be longer. They're saying this, that, and the other. Got it all in, baby. I got it all in. It all worked out. Isn't Duck Commander... oh wait, that's probably trademarked and all that other stuff because of that product line. So I definitely don't want to go there. Do not sue me for using that. Ooh boy. Cut that. Oh, it's live. You can't cut that, rewind it, go back over it. Too bad. Not going to use that, and that's definitely not a product choice. It was going to be a nickname, but boy, as it came flying out of my mouth, I realized that it was a trademark term, and I shouldn't have said it. Okay, anyways. 2 bells here, 2 minutes left. So we're not going to take any more calls at this point, I don't believe, because I don't think we're going to have time to do them justice. So what we're going to do here is remind you of a few things. As you heard, 500's coming up probably mid-March. Depending on if I take a week off or not, I'm trying to figure that one out. I've got some things going on that I might have to, but I haven't figured out what, so I'm not saying that because I don't know yet. As everybody knows, I obviously try to avoid it as much as possible, so there's all of that. Obviously, like we just decided, the 10-year anniversary shows, plural, are coming up end of May and beginning of June. Looking forward to that. Man, just so many great things going on right now. Again, if you have not taken the time to leave a review and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app, because I know so many of you are listening via your podcast apps, from Spotify to Apple Podcasts to TuneIn to Speaker to Stitcher to anywhere. Man, it just blows my mind. I can't keep up. So if you're listening out there and your app has a spot to review, please review. If you haven't shared, please share, because 2021 needs to be a huge year, and it will be. But I need your help. And the way you can help is doing that, because there's no Patreon, there's no this, there's no that. I fully depend on the word of mouth to help share this puppy and get it going. So if you're still out there and you're still listening to this, take a moment and light her up, because that's very important. Also, don't forget, Nick Redfern is returning the last week of the month to talk about his Rendlesham Forest book. Really looking forward to talking to Nick again. He's always a great guest, and we're looking forward to that. So, all that cleaned up well, right? I think we're all good there. All the promotions. Oh, if you are concerned about cybersecurity, you need to go check out our friend of the program, Chip Elix. He was on with Everett and Kim over at Extension 13. Great show, I'm telling you. They do a great show. And with Trip, if you've heard Trip on this program, you're going to love him over there, because he went the distance, went a couple hours over there with them. And let me tell you, you need to listen to it, because cybersecurity changes so much, and all the Google devices and all the phones and all this other stuff. Go over and check out what Trip had to say. You'll never look at your phone the same way again. So check that out as well. There's all that. All that, man. A lot going on. A lot going on in the world. A lot going around the pond. A lot going on in your life. I'm glad that you took a little bit of time out of your busyness and shared it with me. Now, here we go again. I'll see you soon. How soon? Thank you for listening to this episode of the Malliard Report. Stay tuned for details on saving money at the Duck Pond Shop. I hope you enjoyed this report. Please subscribe so that you can join us again. And if you appreciate the show, leave us some stars or a review. For more notes from this show or other great shows, check out Malliard.com. A reminder, the views and opinions of this show are those of the host and guest and do not represent any sponsors, affiliates, or any other partners of the Malliard Report. Now for your money-saving tip. Promo code Malliard at checkout of duckpondshop.com, where you can get your t-shirt, coffee mug, and other great products. That's promo code Malliard at checkout, duckpondshop.com. Until next week, stay safe and keep quacking.